ಓಕೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ಶ್ರೀಗೌರಿ ಹುದ್ದಾರ್. ನಾನು PhD ಮತ್ತು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಇಂದು ನಾವು ISRK ಕನ್ನಡ ಪಾಡ್ಕಾಸ್ಟಿನ ಸೆಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ISRK ಒಂದು ಲಾಭರಹಿತ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪ್ರೇರಿತ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ISRK ಯಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳಾದ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಶೋಧನಕಾರರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ನಾವು ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದು ಬೈ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬೈ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಲಿಂಕ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಅದ್ರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ ದ ಎಂಡ್ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ISRK ಯ ಒಂದು ಮುಖ್ಯ ಭಾಗಿಯಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಯಶವರ್ಧನ್ ಮಾಲ್ಪಾನಿ ಅವರನ್ನ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಯಶವರ್ಧನ್ ಅವರು ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕೊರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 13 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಅವರು PhD ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕರೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಜಾಬ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸಹಿತ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಲೀಸಾಗಿ ಮಾತನಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಕಾರಣ ಅವರು ಉತ್ತರ ಭಾರತದಿಂದ ಅವರು ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಅವರು ಧಾರವಾಡದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಅವರ ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವರ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಹತೆಯನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಅವರ ಬಾಯಿಯಿಂದಲೇ ಕೇಳೋಣ. ಐ ವುಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟು ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಯಶವರ್ಧನ್ ಮಾಲ್ಪಾನಿ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಸೆಷನ್. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗೋ ಅಹೆಡ್.
ಹಲೋ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ. ನಾನು ಯಶವರ್ಧನ್ ಮಾಲ್ಪಾನಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿರೋದು. ಸೊ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ Dr. Gauri said, I am from MP, India, and yeah, I did my education in Karnataka for 5 years, my bachelor's and master's, and after that I did job in Goa, and now from last 13 years I have been in Korea. I finished my PhD here, then postdocs, and then after that I am working as a manager in Daewoo Pharmaceutical, one of the well-known company of Korea. Thank you.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಸೊ ಈಗ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅಗ್ದಿ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂತ ಹೋಗ್ತೇನೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನೀವು ಓದಿದ್ದು ನಾನು ಓದಿದ್ದು ಒಂದೇ ಏರಿಯಾ, ಇಬ್ರು ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮಿಬ್ಬರು ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯನ್ನ ಒಂದೇ ಊರಿನಿಂದ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕೊರಿಯಾಕೆನೆ ಬಂದು PhD ಡಿಗ್ರಿನ ತಗೋಬೇಕಂತ ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ದು ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಬಲ್ಲಿರಾ?
Yeah, okay. So actually, well, when I finished my master's, so my professors did not let me to go for a job. They were very hard on insisting me to join as a PhD under them. But being from a poor background, so I didn't had much scope to go for PhD without scholarships. So I was continuously trying for JRF, CSR, and yeah, I could clear them, but not until the JRF funding. I got till lectureship only. So my option was that until I get a scholarship, I won't go for a PhD. So what I did is I pursued my trials continuously, seeing that my professor were also too much eager to push me ahead. And one of my very good professor, I'm very sorry that he's not anymore right now, but Professor I.M. Khaji, he was a very wonderful man. He was a very gentleman, and he helped me to get myself introduced to my professor in Korea, under which I did my PhD. And when he introduced me, it was a formal introduction initially, and I had to go through the process of selection, clearing TOEFL, and all other formalities. And because of good understanding and successfully clearing of all the issues, then I could easily get into the Korea. My main motive was to do PhD either in India with some scholarship in good institute, or do in foreign country somewhere like US or Europe, or Korea was my not
Last
there
option.
in my thought. But when I was selected in Korea for PhD, then before making my final decision, I wanted to know more about Korea, and I didn't know what kind of status or what kind of research level is in there in Korea. So I communicated to some of my friends in Korea, and they were doing some postdocs from 2-3 years long back. So I discussed them, and I realized that how much less we knew about Korea when we were in India. and the level of research was quite good back then also. And from last 10 years, I have seen it has grown tremendously high. So that initial interrogation with my friends and my like known people who were in Korea made me made me to think like, okay, Korea is a good place to go and do my PhD. I think.
Okay, okay. So, as per your conversation, I could understand Dr. Ayam Kaji play a greatest role for your
Yeah.
entrance to Korea.
Yes, right.
Okay, okay. So, and can you please tell me about the fee structure and the scholarship? Did you paid initially, or can
Okay.
you? Yeah.
Yeah. So as I mentioned I told you that I was from a poor background and I could not afford to do my PhD on my own cost. So when I was introduced, the first question to my professor I am Kaji was whether I will get funding or not.
Yes.
So yeah, that it was clear for me in the initial instance only that yeah, you will get funding, and I was expecting a very low scholarship also will do for me because I just want to stay for my stay and my expense cover my expenses. So when I confirmed it, it was like quite high at that time also about from my expectation, and since then from there right now it has been like doubled. So um, I need not pay anything much apart from my TOEFL fees and my entrance fee for getting into the registration of university, which was less than something $300, 300 to $400. So that was the whole expenditure I made initially to get into the South Korea, apart from my TOEFL fees. So that's what I had to pay initially.
ಸೊ ನೀವು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಟೋಫೆಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊರಿಯಾಗ್ ಬರೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ರಾ ಅಥವಾ ಕೊರಿಯಾಗ್ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದ ನೀವು?
Yeah, actually, I took it before. It was not mandatory at that time, but I had a chance to take it before that, and I cleared it off nicely that time only, when I was in India.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಕೋಚಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ಗಾದ್ರೂ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರಾ?
Well, for that, I would like to especially suggest my friends here that I didn't go anywhere. I didn't prepare much for TOEFL actually, but I still score like 103 from 120. But you know what is the main reason I could do so is whenever I had to speak English, I never bothered whether I'm telling right or wrong. So I try to speak up as much as I can, try to learn from people who made me correct and like who really spoke very well. So like that only I prepared. It was my preparation of like 6 years from my bachelor to master to my job in Goa. So during that time, whatever I had interrogation with people, that was my preparation for TOEFL exam. And I didn't do any specific training and much learning for doing TOEFL exam. Yeah.
ಸೊ ನೀವು ದಿನನಿತ್ಯ ನೀವು ಯಾರದೇ ಜೊತೆ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ ಅದೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಟೋಫೆಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ?
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell people like, yeah, definitely we need some preparations also. I try to take few tests, maybe 10 or 15 tests before the exam. So you realize that which type of question and what kind of questions will arise and come. So it depends on people to people, but for some people it becomes easy if they are keen on learning like every moment. So yeah, you have to learn every moment whatever is possible, and when you are taking TOEFL exam, just take few type of preliminary tests which make you understand that what type of question will come, so it will make easy for clearing it up.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದು ನೀವು ಕೊರಿಯಾ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಟೋಫೆಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಕೊರಿಯಾಗೆ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂಡರ್ ಬರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೊರಿಯಾ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಕ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆದಾಗ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಿಮ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಇತ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದಾ ಒಂಚೂರು?
Yeah. So initially, when I arrived in Korea, the first issue was like I cannot communicate with anybody much because of the level then was also like people can't speak English very well here. And even still now, like when you come, if you don't have like Indian or other foreigners nearby you, you will find difficult to like interact with people. So that was my biggest problem. But the good thing which I had was I had a 2.5 years of my company experience, and the research which I need to do was exactly what I have learned from 2.5 years in my company. So that really helped me a lot to like start my research here. And as you go on, you keep on learning and you keep on developing yourself. And it's not like you cannot learn at all anything. People do speak English in institutes here, so you get to know more and more things slowly. And slowly you learn some language part also, so you can even interact later on nicely to people. Yeah.
ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಸಿಂಥೆಸಿಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮಷಿನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, NMR ಅಥವಾ ಮಾಸ್, UV, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಮಷಿನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೇನೆ ನಾನು.
uh, See, I had an experience of my company
Yeah.
where I had like quite much experience. It was also a very good company. Syngenta is well-known company, multinational company. So many things I learned there. Yeah, handling of instruments and about how to interpret the results and other things. Yeah, but I had to learn more things here, like using HPLC directly, using prep HPLC, using NMR machine directly, which I never handled earlier in India. So those things, there are systematic protocols to handle them, and they are very quite general for many of the instruments. So you first get used to it by some like you have a written format here, or you might learn it from somebody who speaks English here a little bit, and then it becomes easy to handle them. It doesn't make any much issue. Moreover, if you make some error also here, the one good thing is you get the machines repair very fast if they get damaged because of the good funding. Otherwise, like sometimes in India, if some machines are like damaged, they take 2 months, 3 months to just repair them. But here it's like that. So people, and even the new researcher, Korean researcher, master students, or even the degree student who come for internship, they handle these instruments very effectively and without any hesitation. So yeah, there was no issue at all.
ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಈಗ ನಾನ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ಗೋವಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ 2.5 years ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೊರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ 13 years ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕೊರಿಯನ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಅ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ನೋ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್?
Yeah, so actually, I had different type of exposure in India and Korea both. Yeah, in India also I had in my master, I went to ISC summer internship 2 months with at HYOD, and also in ISC Bangalore. So I had a little bit exposure how the institution research is going on in India, not much. And also I had a little bit exposure of our own lab in our university. So that was one thing which I was very much interested to pursue my research. That was the like seed for me to start doing research, to think of doing research. Then I moved to company where I have a very complete different exposure. So if I compare both with Korean institutions and university and Korean companies, I will like to say that in Korea, in universities, definitely you have lot of, in university and institute, you have lot of fundings for which, because of which you can do lot of things which are not possible like easily in India. But yeah, it's not everywhere, but in some places it is not possible. Like in university level, it's still difficult for pursuing that type of researches. And also like application here, people look for direct application of their research in the present market or present world. So here we directly look for something which can be commercialized or which can earn us. And in India we can do, and we are doing it in India also. It's like the institutes like IITs and IIScs are really doing very good here. They are doing very good fundamental research, better than Korea. So they can but the level is, restricted. We can't do everywhere in India. Here, wherever you go, it is possibility is higher, and they are more focused to get it commercialized or like application oriented research. Then that's why most of the time they have maximum number of patents coming out of Korea only. uh, we don't focus on writing patents much compared to papers, but in Korea the technology is something which they are doing in such an advanced level in the world, so they need to file a patent, and that's how this is a basic difference in the universities and in Indian universities and institutes. But when you come to companies side, uh, if you see multinational company in India, they are doing like much better compared to what we see a Korean company will having the standard. But all Indian companies are not to a multinational company standard, right? So here the level of, I should say, Korean companies is in between the multinational companies and Indian national companies. So I was from Syngenta. I was having a very good exposure and type of environment in research. But if I see Indian companies, they are very far below. But Korean companies just suits well between these two companies at these two levels. So this is what I can say about the Korean research level.
ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು PhD ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ 4 years ಅಥವಾ 4.5 years ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರಬಹುದು ಟೈಮ್ ಅನ್ನ. ಸೊ ಆ 4 years or 4.5 years ನಿಮ್ದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇತ್ತು? UST ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಕೊರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ ಲೈಫ್ ನ ಲೀಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಏನು? ಕೊರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ PhD ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವುದು ತುಂಬಾ ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿದೆಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ?
So basically, doing a PhD in Korea is, I think, one of the best thing which we can do for pursuing PhD. There are a lot of reasons, and even on that, if you are doing research, means PhD with UST, it is even much better than doing from other place. So I didn't feel any particular issue doing PhD in Korea, because food wise you can eat whatever, everything is available. You can do cooking, you can eat outside, that's all possibilities there. Stay wise, everything is very comfortable. There are dormitories, there are paying guests, and there are like flats available. Everything is very easy for food and stay. And apart from that, if you are thinking about research, I already talked that the research is also very high and good compared to Indian institutes and university. So it is very easy to do PhD in Korea. If you have a dream to do PhD, means you have been like, if your mind is focused that I will finish my PhD within this year, within this time, so it's not a big issue doing. People may feel some problems like far away from their home, or like kind of a communication gap, but that is, I should say, is not as much important when you are looking forward to doing a PhD. So yeah, all you can access all the international journals. You can access all the high advanced technologies here, and you have a good scope of like exposures to like world renowned scientists also through a lot of programs from your university or from your like conferences possibilities, and yeah, a lot of things are there. So in all way, I didn't feel any difficulty is there to do PhD in Korea. And yeah, it's an individual choice to whether to pursue India or in Korea. But Indian institutes, I would like to say that Indian institutes are very well placed to do PhD also. So if you choose between Indian institute and Korea, both are good enough. But in Korea, you get more kind of funding and ease to do India. Yeah.
ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ನೀವು PhD ನ ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಸನ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ನಾನ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬಹುದಾ? ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ? ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೇ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತಾ? ಯಾಕೆ?
Yeah.
ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರ? ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನೀವು 4 ವರ್ಷ ಅಥವಾ 4.5 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ PhD ಡಿಗ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಕ್‌ಗಳನ್ನ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ. ಅದು ಪೇಪರ್ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಾ? ಅಥವಾ ಪೇಟೆಂಟ್ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಾ? ಯಾವ ರೀಸನ್ನಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿನೇ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಬೌಟ್ 3 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜಾಬ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂನು ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದ್ಲು ಕ್ರಿಕ್ಟೇ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯದಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ತಿಳಿದಿದೆ. ಅದನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ?
So there are a lot of reasons, not a one. Firstly, like when I was trying to do PhD, also I was looking for a good place to do PhD, and definitely I find one. So one thing is to continue postdoc was not an issue in terms of the place, because I was looking such place to do my PhD. Secondly, like yeah, as you said, I was waiting for my publications also. So that was another reason. Also, you said that my professor was interested in keeping me more time for here, more time here. So I was having a lot of like reasons to continue. But most important reason was that the project I was working on, like we did a 5.5 years PhD. I did my PhD on antiviral compounds. So the work was going so good, and it was also not commercialized, but it was also sold to one of the multinational company. So that was my like focus, that I don't wanted to leave it on like halfway, or kind of like I wanted to pursue it until it like commercializes. But unfortunately there was some issues to final commercialization, which are still in progress. So we will definitely might have in future. But main motive to stay in Crete for me was to finish off the work which we started in my PhD, and that when I left it, it was about finished from our part, and now the company is looking over it, which purchased it. Yeah.
ಓಕೆ, ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು PhD ಮತ್ತು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಈಗ ಜಾಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ದೈವೋಂಗ್ ಬಯೋ ಇನ್ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಸೌತ್ ಕೊರಿಯಾ, ಸೊ ಆ ಜಾಬ್ ಹುಡುಕೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ನ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು? ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದೇ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದಾ?
Yeah, so that was a good question, because when I finished my like almost I was about to move, so I was looking for multiple options, and I found that it's a good possibility to go outside Korea, and it's good possibility to be in Korea. But being so long, I was approximately like 10 years in Korea, so I felt like I had a good opportunities to stay in Korea also. So when I look for Korean possibilities, means opportunities in Korea, so I had two options: to continue basic research, or to continue in bulk API bulk synthesis. So ultimately everybody has to return to its native country. So my native country is India, and I looked at in future bulk productions and API is going to be a like very good. It presently India is also in the top list, and it will be always there. So why not, if I had a chance to move to bulk synthesis and I get like some experience and move to, if I had to move, then I can move to India on that line. So I choose Deung Bio because of its my work profile was to be a manager in bulk synthesis, and yeah, it was a good decision by me, and I'm getting a new experience after my basic research of 10 years. So overall it will develop me as a complete knowledge of basic to bulk synthesis.
ಸೊ ಈಗ ನನಗೆ ತಿಳಿದಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ನೀವು ಕೊರಿಯಾ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ 10 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಅಗದಿ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಿಲಿಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಿ. ಬಟ್ ಈಗ ನೀವು ಕರೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕಿಲೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಈ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಒತ್ತಡ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಗೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ನೀವು ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಂತ?
Yeah, bulk synthesis is quite different from basic research, and it is like it also requires the same type of experience which we require for basic research. So when I moved initially, I also had few issues. As you said, like you have to be like more uh,
ಕಾಶಿಯಸ್.
cautious, and the whole responsibility on you to develop your process. So every aspect in terms of its purity, in terms of its amount, in terms of its cost, especially the cost. So yeah, all those responsibility when it comes in, you have to have a lot of experience, then you do it in the best way. So I should say that it is like for me it is a period of gaining more experience in bulk synthesis. But by this time I am also learning like new things, you need to know more about GMP, QBD, and like costing of materials, and how the market is presently going on in bulk synthesis. So that exposure is very different from your basic research. So yeah, it is a quite different field altogether. So you have to be prepared, mentally prepared to learn more things, then you can easily take over it. Yeah.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ತಿಳಿದಿರುವ ಹಾಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ವೈಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಫ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಡೂ ದಿಸ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ರಾ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇವನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮೆನಿ ಮೋರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಟು ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ಅ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್. ಸೊ ಈಗ ನನಗಿರೋ ಕ್ಯೂರಿಯಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸೇ ಇದೆ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಇದಾವ, ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು NMR ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ HPLC ಆಗ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡೆಡ್, ಆರ್ ಡು ಯು ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್ ಟು ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಮಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಟ್?
So actually, in companies who do bulk synthesis, there is never shortage of funding or doing some investment. The point is how much you're gonna use that things. So when you're see, whenever we need to have that instrument, particularly for kind of material, we can definitely buy, because here we talk about money in terms of very huge amount. So when you if like in universities and like institutes, even though funding is good in Korea, but you never speak in terms of billions or millions of dollars, right? But when you talk about a company running API synthesis, and which is in one of the top 5 companies or top 10 companies of Korea, funding is never a issue. But only thing is how much
You
you
are
can
using.
justify particular thing is required. So likewise, if I see, whenever I need to do some things, I didn't face much issues. Only thing is sometimes when we don't have the instruments or something which are not used oftenly in our present pipeline development, so we need to go for like other universities or institutes to just ask them, and they do it in terms of like in return of some money. So that is easily can be done by us, and there's a no issue, as you said, like in crate and in company. There is at least the company which I am working, the top 10 companies or top 20 companies of Korea may not feel any issue of getting anything which are required.
ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಾವು ಈ ತರನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ, ಬಲ್ಕ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಸೆಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅದೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಿಲಿಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ. 10%, 12% ಬಂದಿದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ನಾವು ಐಸೋಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ನಾವು ಒದ್ದಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ನಿಮ್ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬಲ್ಕ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ HPLC ಮಾಡೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಇವ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ರಗಳೆನೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಂದು ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್. ಬಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೈಡ್ ಮೀ ವೆಲ್.
So sometimes when you are working on some kind of known or generic API, then those type of issue may not arise much. but it's still like when you have work on some costlier APIs, then you have to handle it in very small amounts, which is still like, or if you do CDMO, CMO business, then you have to handle everything in very small amounts, and it faces the same issues what you're telling. We need to start from scratch, and then we bring something kind of a developed process where we can get higher yields. So yeah, it has in between like both the things. If you are working, it depends on what type of work you are doing. We have both the things which are done in API synthesis. So you have to, sometimes you have to do columns also when you go for CDMO CMO purpose. Then definitely we have to go for columns also, and mostly we look for cheap chemicals, so that's why we don't need to have all the chemicals required to do the synthesis, because in bulk scale, until it is a commercially feasible process means people can able to buy the final product for their treatment. If that treatment cost in hundreds of dollars, $200, it will be difficult for everybody to have it, right? So in that case, it's a issue, but otherwise it's not a issue regarding doing this kind of chemicals or something, because we usually use most general chemicals and they are all available all the time.
Available, cheap and best available. Okay, sir. So, and ನನಗೆ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಪೇಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ?
I had only 12 publications and few patents, maybe three, something like that. So yeah, but most important is I think I have gained more knowledge in Korea than what publication and papers like says. So it was a good exposure for me in my life to do PhD in.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಂದಿದಂತ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಅವರು ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಕೊರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇಪರ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ದೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Yeah, again it depends on the place, because I have the same my colleague who has like even just only PhD, but he has 15 of JEX, 15 20 JEX paper. So it's not depending upon Korea or India or something like that. It depends on the place. Some research institute focused on publication also. So but especially in institutes where you are focused to develop some technology or some kind of output which should generate some income, so then it is difficult to publish anything because everything will be confidential, right? So yeah, especially when you work on such kind of project and institute, it will be the issue. Even I don't know how much India does it, but in India also some institute will have these similar issues. But in India mostly the research is done on fundamentals or kind of paper academic oriented. So in that case it is important to publish. Yeah.
Okay. ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದು ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ನನಗೆ ಹಳೇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೆನಪಾಗಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಸೌತ್ ಕೊರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ದು ಜೀವನ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ರೀಲ್ ಓಡ್ದಂಗ ಆಯ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಟು ಬಿ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟುಡೇಸ್ ಸೆಷನ್. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ISRK ಪಾಡ್ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಸೆಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂತಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು.
Yeah, firstly I would like to thank ISRK for giving me this opportunity, and also like having me on this ISRK podcast. Literally I don't feel like I am like having such a nice experience or kind of a well-suited person for having this podcast, but yeah, overall I know about ISRK. I have my good friends in ISRK. They are doing really very good things in educating, informing, and guiding new people in Korea, and also like people who are already there but not aware of few situations. So ISRK is doing really great job, and I wish all all the best and all the luck to them to do their work more efficiently. And yeah, I would like to be always there for any help or any kind of support required for it. So thank you for having me here.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೇ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕರೆದಿರೋದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕೊರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ 13 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ದ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು 3 ಸ್ಟೇಜಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು PhD ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ, ಒಂದು ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ ಆಗಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಜಾಬ್ ಹುಡ್ಕೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ. ಸೊ ಈ 3 ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಿಂದನೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನನ್ನ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಫಾರ್ ಜಾಯ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅಸ್ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Thank you, everybody, and it's nice to talk to you, Gauri, and yeah, all the best to ISRK.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.